G'day, welcome back to the shed. Sunday morning and flat tyre, really flat, won't hold any air on the 26 AJS. Just going to try and get the rear wheel out. Haven't had it out before, thought everybody might like to have a look and see how that happens. Okay, looks simple enough on this side. Right hand side of the bike, just a square headed bolt on the axle, or the axle goes the whole way through, not sure, haven't looked at the manual. There is some sort of axle adjustment, but that looks as though it's well worn and probably not doing anything. Let's move around the other side of the bike. This side of the bike needs a little bit more work. Get the nut off, so that probably tells me it's a side axle going all the way through. Remove the brake arm, either where it articulates at the top or where the brake arm itself attaches, whatever's simplest. I'm then hoping that I've got enough room to drop the chain off. Might have to move the axle forward a little bit and then pull the rear wheel back, and hopefully it'll drop out without removing that chain guard. The less I do to the bike, the better off I'll feel. I really don't want to mess with the bike too much. Alright, I'll bring you back after I've had a go. Okay, that didn't prove anywhere near as difficult as I thought it might. Up here where the brake arm actuates, we're talking about 1/4 inch Whitworth. It undid really easy, very greasy, and then here on the axle itself was 3/8 Whitworth. As you can see, the weirdo inside Chris paints all his spanners according to colour. The yellow ones are Whitworth, the black ones hanging on the wall are Imperial, and of course the red ones need to be metric. Alright, let's undo the other side and see if we can slide everything out. Here on the right hand side, again it's just taken the 1/4 Whitworth spanner. I'd say it's been bodged at some stage, the edge of the axle. It is loose, but it's just enough to undo the axle, and now everything's really loose. I think we'll need to adjust the chain tensioners to let the chain slip off, and then the wheel should just drop out. I'll bring you back after I've had a look at that. Well, that brake arm came off relatively simply. I don't think it's ever been off in its life before. The hexagonal shape is as clean as a whistle. It doesn't look like it's got any damage on it at all. The nut came off really simply. It does look a little bit worn, but the hexagonal piece that the brake arm slides over is in really good nick. The chain has dropped off, and I think I'm ready to drop this wheel out, and it should come out relatively simply. Let's come back and have a look at that. Well, that's the rear wheel out of my AJS relatively simply. I thought it would put up a bigger fight than that, and I did put it off a bit yesterday, but no procrastination this morning and got stuck into it. Here's the wheel out of the bike. I've just popped it back up on the lift. You can see the brake plate, the sprocket that's in relatively good nick, doesn't look too worn. We can see the ears are caked on grease and muck. The brake plate spins really easily. There's no sideways movement in the axle, so the bearing's really quite good. That's promising, or perhaps a tiny bit of sideways movement. Again, you can see that odd blue rim, and you can see the old tyre. So I got a friend who's a tyre fitter. I'm not going to mess with this. I'm going to get him to take that off for me, and we might put a new tube in it or have a look at why it's leaking, and we'll go back from there. I'll bring you back next time when we go back to refitting and put it all back together, and then we might see if we can get the bike to start. Well, there's a quick job in the shed early in the morning. It's a nice job to get over and done with. When you're pulling apart a bike that's never been apart before, always have a little bit of stress and a bit of anxiety over what you might mess up. Given that this bike's unrestored, not been apart, I always feel as though I have a duty of care just look after it the best I can. Thanks for joining me on Flat Tag Journey. I'll bring you back when we put the back wheel back in.